today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to compare a couple guitars. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. Click on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. In this case, Zzounds was in part the people that helped make this happen. So what are we comparing today?
Yeah, so we're looking at, well, this.
And these.
Right. So this is a 2000 Swamp Ash Special that I bought in 2001. It's been with me for a long time. And I've always loved this guitar, which made me really excited to get in.
The Swamp Ash Special SE, brand new guitar here, offering from PRS, made in Indonesia. So we got this in to compare it to the OG core.
Yeah, we really like the SEs. Mm-hmm. So we've done a lot of SEs. When that SE came out, I was like, we have to get this one in. So this video is pretty straight ahead. We just want to give you a chance to hear the sounds. I would guess this would be considered a is this a core PRS?
Sure.
Before they called them core PRSs, I guess this was, mm-hmm. The American line or right out of the factory there. So to start, we're going to take the Pat plane clean through both of them and kind of put them back to back so you can hear and see the pickup configurations, mm-hmm. and get a sense for the difference in that regard.
So one way we decided to try to compare the guitars is do a couple jams, and we switch back and forth. But for what I went with for a rig, this is our portable rig that we like to call it, and I played that through the MT15, the PRS behind us. It doesn't have reverb, so we use the G-Lab reverb for that, the DLS EchoTOUR, and any overdrive you hear is coming from this kind of one of the OG-ish Barber Electronics direct drives. Right. It's probably about the same vintage as that guitar.
Yeah, almost exactly, right? And so then, since Pat had the OG Barber on there, I actually changed up a little bit and grabbed, went slumming. Yeah, sorry. just joking. Grabbed the King of Tone Analog Man. You see that on the shelf back there a lot. I thought it'd be fun to pull that out today. So King of Tone Analog Man, and I also had a DLS EchoTOUR for that rig, and I was running through the Tyler. So what you're going to see in the first clip is me with the Swamp Ash Special. We're calling it Core just so we can differentiate them. That one, mm-hmm. Pat, you had the SE, and we took one pass each through this chord progression, and that sounds a little bit like this.
right, so now we're going to do a second jam, switching the guitars. I have this guy now. Mm-hmm. And I am still playing through the rig I played through before. We just switch guitars and vice versa for the Beard.
Nice, same rig. So coming out of the jam, real quick, some of the biggest differences between the two guitars, just some, specs, I guess. Obviously, this one has a tremolo bar. Mm-hmm. The other model, no tremolo bar. That has kind of a glossier neck on it. Right. This has a very, I don't know if it's a satin neck. It's almost like a no finish neck, right. But it's a very smooth, slick neck on the back of this. You have the bird inlays on the SE, which are really, really nice. You have some moon inlays over there on the Swamp Ash, I guess the core model. Pickups are a little bit different. We'll talk probably about pickups here in a minute. Yeah, the neck hill is, this kind of a more modern neck hill. That has an older thing, I guess. Look how far down the plate is on that. Right. Anything else you think that there's a big difference, or should we just jump into final?
There's a difference in the carve because there's always a shallow violin carve on the SEs. Yeah. This has a little bit more of a carve on the top.
Locking tuners on the original SE does not have locking tuners. So I think that about covers the big differences. Mm-hmm. What do you got for final thoughts?
Well, it's always interesting if we have a core model to compare to a new model of PRSs, especially when it's 20-some years old. So in some ways, is it a fair comparison? I don't know. It's a very different animal, but I love that they're revisiting some of the guitars that kind of were the original guitars. A lot of the SEs that we've played, the pickups are very different than whatever we're comparing it to. Yeah. They tend to be a little bit brighter. The harmonics are different. You can find different sweet spots on the neck of this, maybe a little warmer. That's a little brighter. We've talked about it. It's not necessarily a showstopper. It's just different. And talked into how it might get us into having to tweak other parts of our rig. Sometimes it's like, can I just take that guitar and this guitar and take it into the same rig and not feel like I need to make tweaks? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not what you're trying to do, but it's nice if you bring multiple guitars to something, you can kind of switch them back and forth.
Well, we did it in the jam, so you can be the judge of that a little bit.
So I love that they're doing it. I love that the price points are just completely different from each other, and you can get into a lot of interesting guitars at a lower price point. I don't want to quote that, but we'll probably have a affiliate link. Mm-hmm. I want to say $850. That might not be right.
It was on sale for a while, so it might be cheaper than that.
Right. So, I mean, those were my rambling thoughts. I mean, it's always interesting. I'm glad we get to do it. It makes us think about what we do and what we like to hear.
So for me, I think that's a wide fat neck, which is the same that I would have on my McCarty. I think this is maybe a wide thin.
It might be a little
read that?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I feel that difference a whole lot when we were jumping between the two. I think for me, the biggest thing came down to the pickups. This guitar feels great.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It feels great. It looks great. I like the tremolo, the added tremolo. I like a hardtail guitar, but this was kind of cool since I don't typically have them. Let's get rid of all that. For me, it comes, I think, down to the pickups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to this. I've been playing that guitar for 23 years.
Right.
So that I'm really used to that. This is really different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's different. You know, it has a different quality to it. So I kind of struggled there a little bit. But that shouldn't be a showstopper for somebody. Like if you're looking at it and you're interested in it, try one out because it's pretty cool. There's a lot of versatility in these guitars that even for years when I was playing that one, never tapped into, that I've been tapping into recently. More recently with that switch. Like you said it earlier, when you pop that out on the neck position and have the two singles up there, it has it's cool.
Right.
It's not Strat. It's not supposed to be a Strat. It's just cool. So, I don't know if that sums it up. I think that sums it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, well, which one's better? The one I've had for 23 years is better, at least for me. Does this hold its own? Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're finding that with all the SEs. The SEs are just great guitars. And so if you want to try that pickup configuration but don't want to try and hunt down a used Swamp Ash Special, and I can't, last time I checked on the price of these, I was blown away because I did not pay that for mine used.
Right. Make sure to put it in plexiglass.
Quite that much. But yeah, it's definitely a far cry from what this is. So yeah, that's the SEs. Let us know what you think. This is a we can tell from putting out the video on the SE a week or so ago and how many views it has compared to how many, say, the DGT SE got. Mm-hmm. Not as popular as some of their other offerings, but really, really cool. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you think of the Swamp Ash. And just thanks for watching. If you click the subscribe button, notification bell, like button. Anytime you interact with the channel, that helps us interact with cool people like Zzounds, getting cool stuff to share with you. And so I think I'll shut up now.
With that, I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard Money. No matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Roll the clips.